Hi everybody, I'm Dee from Higher Love, and today I don't really have a plan for this video, but I think that's for the best. When I did my New Moon and Pisces reading the other day, I just hit record and didn't really plan anything, and I think it went a lot better than if I would have tried to plan it and stick to a bullet point system. I basically want to just reach out and talk to, well, everybody. When I say Twin Flame Collective, I really am referring to everyone on the planet. But the reason because everyone has a twin flame and we're all ultimately on our twin flame journey, because it's just the journey back to God. But the reason I use the term Twin Flame Collective, like in a video title or just in general, is because the people who are drawn to the phrase Twin Flame Collective, or who have met their twin flame, or just in the sphere of knowing about twin flames, they are a little bit ahead of the game. For a time, there are no special children of God. It's just, and time is an illusion and all that good stuff. And so anyone who appears to have more knowledge on a specific subject or anything like that, it's just an illusion, because anyone can ultimately learn anything. I had a dream last night that involved my twin. I was at his house, like where he grew up, and his mom and his brothers and sisters were there, or just one sister, or were there two? I don't remember. His dad wasn't there. It was just his mom, his sister. I think there was only one sister and a brother, and they knew me very well. And I was over there, like, every day. This is in the dream, right? This didn't actually happen. I would go over to his house, like, every day and, like, shovel their driveway. Like, because there's, like, snow on it. I would, like, shovel their driveway for them. I would be, like, in my twin's room folding his laundry. I would be, like, trying to clean up the house and, like, straighten it for them. Even though it's, like, not my house, like, his mom and his siblings were there. I was there doing all this, like, tidying up and cleaning up, and, like, there was such a sense of desperation about it. And the energy of it was, look at all of these things I'm doing for you. Don't you love me now? And I think that's why I woke up and just hit record. I mean, I obviously put clothes on first, but it felt really important, and I think it's because a lot of us Divine Feminine are getting trapped in the almost archaic mother energy. I've dated so many guys whose mom was, like, grossly attached to them, and, like, there's a you can tell the difference between people who are like a mother and son who are well bonded and there's mutual respect and trust and they're friends, versus the mom is, like, emotionally dependent on the son's approval, attention, and time. And if like I've dated guys who, whenever I was around, their mom got, like, jealous. And that's really disturbing. And it's interesting that I experienced this dating people before, and now I seem to be carrying some of that same energy. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm mostly speaking to the Divine Feminine right now, but that's you know, who cares? Like, anyone can watch this video, and there's something to be learned from everything. So it's not exclusively for Divine Feminine. However, I am talking to you because sometimes it feels like, okay, if I was the one called in to do the healing work, and my twin was called in to do the mirroring, well, I'm doing all this work. Don't they see that? Don't they recognize that? Don't they love me for that? Don't they want to talk to me about it? Don't they want to be a part of it? Don't they? It's just like in my card reading, honestly, where the Divine Feminine is kind of wistfully looking over, thinking, when are you going to join me in all of this? And you know what? I'm actually not just talking to the Divine Feminine. I'm talking to whichever twin is drawn to watching this video. If you are the twin that was drawn to watch this video, I'm talking to you, whether you're Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, because it's like, if you're the twin called in to do the healing and learn about all this stuff and join the community and get involved, you're essentially creating this space for your twin to inhabit. Especially if you're stepping into your life purpose, that will eventually involve them. If you're learning all these healing techniques, you seem to be doing all the work, right? Again, an illusion, because you and your twin flame are one being. And even if you can't see what they're doing, they're always helping you. They are always helping you. And that's what's really hard about it, is it feels like we're creating this space, right? We know about the twin flame journey. We know we have the vision of how it will look later. We're doing all the things to make it happen. We're holding space for them. We're telling our friends and family all about it. Or maybe not. We know, whatever. We're readying. Like I said, we're creating this space for our twin flame to then inhabit. And it feels very motherly. Like the way a mother would create. Like when you had a baby growing in your belly, you're pregnant, you would spend the 9 months that you were pregnant making your house baby proof, painting the baby's room, buying stuffed animals. You'd have a baby shower and get all kinds of clothes and toys and books and diapers and stuff, and you're doing all this work to create a space because you know your baby's coming into this space. Your baby has no concept of that. I mean, on a soul level, they have a concept of that, but like, once you choose to, you know, actually like inhabit the fetus, I don't know exactly when that stuff happens. I really don't. But you forego all of your like awareness from just like floating up in the ethers or whatever, wherever souls go between lives. So, you know, once you're in there, your job is to just be. And your mom and your parents most likely are busy creating this space for you and getting all prepared. And I think that can lead to, if emotions aren't balanced and a proper perspective is not gained, I think that can lead to a lot of it can just lead to this sense of, like when the baby's born, like, you're here for me. Look at all the space I created for you. Don't you love me? You know, I think parents a lot of times get trapped, especially as the kids hitting teenage years, they get trapped in this, like, I brought you into this world, I did all these things for you, I made my whole life about you, and now you're just, like, going off and doing your own thing and leaving me out of it? Like, that's not what I signed up for. But, you know, if you are stable and sane. You don't bring a baby into the world to make you feel more whole. You don't bring a baby into the world to make you happy or give you anything. If you're bringing a baby into the world, it is because, it has to be, because you just want to give life to something. And you have to be mindful that it has ideas of its own. It has a purpose of its own that probably has nothing to do with you. It's going to have all its own opinions. It might not even like you. But, like, you can't get so attached to that, because your purpose in having a child was to bring a child into the world. That has to be where it stops. Yes, of course, having a child can add to your joy. But, like I said, there's a difference, and you can tell the dependent parents versus the stable, well-grounded, you know, basically treating their kids like an equal, although disciplining them and teaching them and guiding them. You might have a child whose soul is older than yours and knows way more than you do and has better intuition. You know? And so, those of us twins who were called in to do the healing, it's like we're pregnant with our twin flame union and we're readying the space, and our twin is the fetus. And they seem to not be doing anything. We can't even see them. We just know this is happening, and we're readying our entire worlds, our entire lives for it. And that's what my dream really pointed out to me, is that I seem to be doing all this stuff. And keep in mind, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but my twin would, like, come home from work, notice that I was doing all this stuff, and, like, angrily walk away. Or, like, ignore me. And I would just get, like, you know, and then his mom would, like, look at me and go, you know, like, the whole dream felt really desperate on my part, and it also seemed like I was missing something. I've always, my whole life has been a grasping. Like, when I was in school, I was grasping for knowledge because it made me feel good to know things that I didn't before. In pretty much all my romantic situations that I've had where I've, you know, been dating somebody, it's been a grasping for their acceptance and their attention. I don't think I can point to a single relationship I've had where I wasn't trying to constantly get their attention or approval. I basically always wanted to know that I was being a really good girlfriend and that they really appreciated that. I couldn't just relax and be, because there was always a grasping. Anytime I would go out dancing with coworkers and get blackout drunk, I was grasping for a good time. Well, what was I really grasping for? I was grasping for a feeling of release, and total pleasure, and no bad feeling. I haven't done that many drugs in my life. Definitely no hardcore ones. I know a lot of people who have. But I know the few times I have done drugs, even if it's smoking pot, it's always been a grasping. It's me making the judgment that I am not okay right now, and so I need to do something to become okay. Even if you're just smoking pot to relax after a hard day's work, why can't you relax? You're made to be able to relax on your own. You know, I've heard people say, oh, it just makes me more creative. You have a natural well of creativity that is always available to you and does not need prompting by anything. When it comes to stuff like DMT, I will say that the 2 times I've done it, made me feel like I could trust my intuition more, because it made visual everything I felt. However, you don't need that to prove that to you. I've always been like consumed by this obsession of traveling full time, like getting in a car. My fantasy has always been getting in a car with a few things, driving off, and like just living on the road and just seeing what happens. Basically, you know, I stop when I want to stop. I'll get work where and when I want to get work. I will not be on anyone else's time schedule. I'll see everything I want to see. I even have this book sitting in front of me right now that's just like staring at me. Like, I don't know if this is backwards in the camera, but it says A Guide to the National Parks. And when I see stuff like this and I flip through and I see the pictures of people standing before these amazing things, like when I see beautiful landscapes like that and mountains, like I feel like I want to vomit, because I should be there. I should be there. I should just be there. Oh my gosh, that's just so... Oh, I just broke the book. It's a really old book. That's a tree. Look at that cool twisted tree. I just want to throw up when I see stuff like this. It makes me sick to my stomach that I'm not right there, right now. Look at that. That's just amazing. Like, I want to throw up right now. I tend towards nausea when I am, like, emotionally disturbed in any way. I always feel like I'm grasping at something. And I always feel like I need to go somewhere or do something to be happy. And here's the thing, is what I am saying, I'm sure you know where this is going. What I'm saying is, no experience, nothing outside of yourself can make you happy. That's really boring, isn't it? It's a really boring idea. But it's one of the biggest lessons I'm learning in this lifetime, is to stop grasping outside of myself, whether in the form of romantic relationships, drugs, alcohol, or food, and even traveling. I use traveling as like oh, of course I won't be happy till I see every national park in the United States. Oh, of course I won't be happy until I can, I don't know, be on a boat on the ocean. But the thing is, I've had in my past a lot of really cool experiences. I lived in Germany. I've seen the Neuschwanstein Castle. I got to visit Austria. I've been to Portland and Seattle, all over California. I've been to Lake Powell. I've been in Arizona. I've been to Florida. I've been parasailing into Universal Studios. I've been to Washington, D.C. and all the states in between, like Wisconsin, and like driving out to Washington, D.C., like Pennsylvania. I stopped at the Hershey, like the chocolate Hershey factory. I've been to Maryland. I've been to Nashville. I've gone on so many road trips. I have seen so many things, and it's not enough. And I wonder if I were able to visit every country in the world, if that would be enough. And I already know the answer. As humans, we are naturally always going to strive for more, because we are life, and life strives to create more life. In any life form, life strives to give birth to more life. That's just a fact. The problem is when you start putting your feelings of peace and happiness contingent upon that new life. I can envision what my twin flame union is going to look like. But that's not what's going to make me happy, even though it seems like it. Just like when you plan a trip and then you finally go on that trip, it's not the trip that's making you happy. I really got to experience this when I moved to Minneapolis this August. I had it in my head that Minneapolis was the coolest place in the world. For 10 years of my life, I was obsessed with Minneapolis. I loved it. There was this magic about it for me. I thought it was just the coolest place. Like, I had to be there. And so I went, and I moved back home to like where I grew up within 3 months. I didn't even finish out my year lease. I didn't even stay till Christmas. I bailed as soon as I possibly could. And it was a huge lesson. Ultimately, I feel like the twin flame journey is, well, we know what's going on, right? If you met your twin or called to learn about twin flames, or you're interested, you're being called to your ascension back to God. That doesn't mean you're dying. If anyone is unclear about what ascension means, all it means is that there's going to be heaven on earth, and we don't have to die to get there. It's just going to be manifested actively through all our efforts, through everyone being with their twin flame, through all of us living our life purpose. There will be no more war, that kind of thing. It's time. It's time. And I think one of a huge lesson for all of us is understanding that whatever we're seeking through our twin flame, or through travel, or through eating that piece of food, or taking that walk, or petting our cat, or watching a dumb movie with our mom, all we're ever... I hear a buzzing. Sorry, when my phone goes off, I get really distracted. I'm very easily distracted. All we're searching for ever in doing anything, like I really want to go camping. I've never been camping. Or I really want to go to that music festival and see that band play. Or I really want to go to Ireland and see the castles. It's an experience of God. And if you're triggered by the word God, all God is everything. That's it. And if you are scarred from religious experience, let it go. If you're an atheist, I guess what I would say to you is, all God is life. And since there is life, there must be God. It's not me, like, copping out or being naive. It's really just that simple. I'm not going to pull out all the philosophical arguments for God. That might be another video. That'd be fun. But I think my favorite one is, there could be nothing, and yet there is life. All this being an accident or coincidence is so ridiculous. It's super ridiculous. All God is everything. All God is life expressing itself in different ways. Like, here God's expressing himself by being glasses for me to see better. Here, God's expressing himself as a really shiny and coolly designed Diet Coke can so I can get refreshed. Oh, you know what's fun? There's a 222 at the bottom of it. Here, God's expressing himself in cards that all have different energies and symbols so that I can pull different ones out at different times in my life, and I can talk to God through them, and he can help me understand what I'm going through better. And I say he because it just comes out of my mouth that way. Ultimately, the first song I ever wrote was called Words Don't Go, and in it the lyrics say, I can take you to a place where words don't go. And I think that's because, humans created language, and God can speak to us through the symbols we create, but it's a little bit distorted. Like, the magnificence of God is beyond words, and if you were around source, like pure source energy, I don't think you'd feel the compulsion to speak. I think your mind would go blank. I think you would forget what words mean. It's so unnecessary. And that's another thing that's being learned within the Twin Flame community is you don't need to be physically communicating with your twin to be communicating with them. We have to shed the old paradigm way of relating because it's going out the window, not just for our twins, but for everyone. You can communicate really with anyone right now from where you are. The internet's really helping blur those lines too, because you really can communicate to anyone from anywhere at any time. It's great. And with stuff like this, that's God expressing himself through being a really cool tree. That's a really cool tree. And any mountain is the same. God's expressing himself through being a really cool mountain. Or a piece of paper or a french fry. all God is everything. And what I'm trying to say is that if God is everything and everybody all the time, like there's no time lapse, you don't have to wait a certain amount of time to get to know God. You don't have to do something and then you'll get introduced to God. You don't have to earn the right to talk to God. Then, if that is true, then I can get the same experience out of drinking this as I would from being right in front of a mountain and looking at it, or even climbing to the top of that mountain. The reason I don't feel the same amount of God in drinking that Diet Coke as I think I would feel on top of a mountain is because I've had Diet Coke I don't know how many times in my life, and it's just not a new experience. Well, once I climbed to the top of that mountain and I was really high off of doing that, I would sit there and look at the view, and it might take an hour, it might take 2, but at some point I'll go, all right, time to go down. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like everyone who takes, any type of upper, you get that really high space and then you come down. It's not sustainable. And it's only my perception that makes any one experience more or less full of God. I firmly believe that someone can be born in a house, grow up in that house, live in that house their whole adult life, and die in that house, and have experienced just as much God as someone who was born here, moved there when they were 10, went to college in a different country, and spent the rest of their life traveling around the world. I think if you talk to both of those people on their deathbed, they would both equally have experienced God. In different ways, though. One of them experienced God through novelty, through change of scenery, through meeting new people every day, and seeing the common connection, the common thread that ties us all together. They were able to witness God by noticing that even when they were in different countries, they still felt the same. They were still always them. And they could meet different people from, they could go to Australia and meet somebody at a bar, and then they could go to LA and meet somebody at a bar, and you can still have the same conversation. And their experience of God was experiencing how connected we all are, no matter what all the differences seem to be. Well, the person who grew up in that house and lived in that house and died in that house, I don't mean they never left the house like they were shut in, although I could build a case for that too. I basically mean someone who never left their hometown. Their experience of God is one of growing up with neighbors who, like let's say when they were a kid, their neighbor's daughter babysat them. And then when they got to a certain age, the girl who babysat them had kids, and now they're babysitting for them. And they they've gone to the same grocery store since they were 5, and the same people are still working there, and they are really involved in each other's life, even if it's not like, oh, I know everything that you're doing. It's like, I recognize you, I see you here all the time. It's like automatic family. Or like you get to know the person delivering your mail. I'm getting really emotional right now. Or like every time a new movie comes out, you go to the same movie theater and you have watched a new movie in that movie theater so many times that you can't imagine seeing a new release not in that movie theater. I'm crying because that's been my experience of God. And I desire to travel so badly. But I will. I will. I did not expect to cry. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I pulled, before I started this video, I pulled a card for my current energy that also best tied into the current energy of the people that would be drawn to watch this video. And I pulled Queen of Water or Queen of Cups. Tender-hearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. So, while the world traveler experienced God by being able to witness that no matter where he went, everyone was the same and everyone wanted the same thing, the other person who never left their hometown got to experience God, the miracle of what happens when you and the same people share your entire life with each other. So I don't know if I should stop the video so I can keep crying, or if I should just keep talking and keep crying, or what I should do. This is basically, this twin flame journey is teaching us all to stop grasping outside of ourselves. What am I saying here? I'm not saying you shouldn't travel because it won't be good. That's not at all. I'm gonna travel everywhere. I'm gonna see everything I can possibly see. But even though I know that, I desire to travel and see all the things in this book, that should never take away or detract from my feeling of happiness now. It's the whole Wizard of Oz complex, you know? Dorothy goes and leaves her home, but as she's traveling, what does she want to do? She just wants to go back home. And so to really get the best out of life is to understand that God is always with you. You're never away from your source of joy. That's also another definition of God, is joy, peace, love. It's just all God. You really want to help people get over the trigger of the word God, because it's just a simple word to encompass all that is. If you're traveling, you should be happy. And if you're not traveling, you should be happy. If you're talking to your twin every day, you should be happy. If you're not talking to your twin every day, you should be happy. I think that's really what I wanted to say. I really love cards and rune stones. It's kind of my thing. So I'm gonna pull one card from my Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle. Just because I can. Just because I want to experience more God. Never get enough. And that's the thing. You'll never get enough. That's why people have addictions. Can never get enough. But what you're looking for is always God. AKA peace, joy, love, connection. And it's never something that can be found on a different day than now, or in a different location than now. Queen of Water energy is really overcoming me. Mascara tears are the worst. Very Lauren Conrad of me. I pulled Love with an Open Heart. If that doesn't make more sense than any other card I could have pulled, I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. And you know what's happening is as soon as I hit record on this video, I just let God move through me. And that's what any great musician does. That's what any great writer does, is they get out of the way and let God move through them unblocked. So you don't judge what's coming through you. You don't second guess. You just let it happen. Love with an open heart. She seems to be a little cautious about doing that. But I think we all need to let go of the mothering energy. The energy of being pregnant with the union and preparing the space. We can do that. We are doing that. And it's fantastic. But we have to drop the expectation and the feeling of control that it gives us over our twin. Otherwise it'll never ever happen. I'm pulling a rune stone. if you hear noises. I forget where my book is for this. Pulled this rune stone. I honestly don't know where my book is for my rune stones. Wow, it was right on top of everything else, of course. So, Iwaz. I don't know if I pronounced these things correctly. Yeah, this is, yeah, Iwaz. As we are tested, we fund the power to avert blockage and defeat. At the same time, we develop in ourselves an aversion to the conduct that creates stress in our lives. Very good. That's what we want to happen. Avertive powers. If there appears to be an obstacle in your path, consider that even a delay may prove beneficial. Do not be overly eager to press forward, for this is not a time or situation in which you can make your influence felt. Right? Are you guys listening? Patience is the counsel Iwaz offers. Nothing hectic, no acting needy, or lusting after a desired outcome. Guys, this rune speaks to the difficulties that can arise at the beginning of a new life. Often it announces a time of waiting for a spring to fill up with water, for a fruit to ripen on the bough. Perseverance and foresight are called for here. The ability to foresee consequences before you act is a mark of the profound person. Avert anticipated difficulties through right action, this rune is saying. And yet, even more than we are doers, we are deciders. Once the decision is clear, the doing becomes effortless, for then the universe supports and empowers our actions. Receiving Iwaz, you are put on notice that through inconvenience and discomfort, growth is promoted. This may well be a trying time, certainly it is a meaningful one. So set your house in order, tend to business, be clear, and wait on the will of heaven. And with that, I have nothing more to say. If you would like Twin Flame coaching or a reading, I do one-question readings, past, present, future, identifying your current block to union readings, and Twin Flame circle spreads that show where you are, where your twin is, the blocks you're working through, and upcoming union energy. Visit me on my site. I love helping people. I love talking to people about this journey. It's been another long video, but it felt right. So thanks for watching, and have a good day.